Hi everybody, I just wanted to give you a quick update on the content that we covered in Monday's class for those of you who aren't there. So last week we did look briefly at the desktop and some of the icons, I should say, on it. Icons are these pictures basically of the different applications that are on your desktop. I have quite a few here. When you log on to the laptop in the class, you'll probably have 3 or 4. You'll definitely have Google Chrome, that will be one of them, and you will more than likely have a recycle bin as well. I have a few more here because I've loaded extra items onto this desktop. We call these icons, and when you click on the right mouse button, hover over the icon itself and click on the right mouse button, it'll give you a lot of options for things that you can do with this icon or this application, okay? We haven't really gone into that in any detail. We'll look at that at a later date. You can see there are sub options on some of these. But that's what happens when you click on the right mouse button when you hover over it. As we said last week, when you double click on any icon, and the double click is a nice quick click, double click on it, it will open up the icon because you're selecting it, okay? Now, the order or the layout of the icons on the screen can be changed. So if you go over to the blue area, the blank area of your desktop, and you click on the right mouse button to give you options, you can see that you can view, for example, large icons. So we've got medium icons selected at the moment. You can make them all large. And there you go, they've all gotten bigger. So clicking on my right mouse button again, I'm going to go back to view and change them to medium. Okay, you can also sort them. Sort by name, for example. Let's try that. So you just using your left mouse button, you click on sort, and using your left mouse button again, because you're selecting it, you're going to click on name. And there you go, it's reordered. Okay. So you can play around with that a little bit. It takes a little bit of practice to get used to it, but that's what the class is for. Okay. Now I can also move my icons around manually with my mouse, and we call this drag and drop, okay? And what you do is you go and you hover over, let's take the Chrome icon, and press your left mouse button down and keep it down, and then move your mouse, and that will allow you to move the icon wherever you want to go, okay? And if you decide where you want it, we'll put it on the corner of the window here, and then let go of the mouse buttons and it'll just drop there, okay? And if I want to move it back, again, I just press the left mouse button, keep that depressed, and move your mouse again and drop it back where you want it, okay? So that is one of the things that we were doing in the class. We also covered, let me just, it's not, won't change for me. Okay, bear with me for a second. I'm just going to change the screen. Okay, so the section of the notes that deals with those items that we've been talking about so far is in basic computer know-how, and I'll give you those notes. Very briefly, that covers how to turn on the computer, whether it's a desktop or a laptop, how to turn it off, which you've all done. It discusses the desktop a little bit, which we've also done, and it talks about some of the icons there. So this week in the class, we moved on to how to use the mouse a little bit more. We talked about mouse actions, pointing, clicking, and dragging is what I was showing you there a moment ago on the desktop. It goes into a little bit more detail, which I'll let you read in the notes themselves. Right click, as we said, gives you the options, and left click is usually select, and the dragging function we've just shown you. So now we're going to move on to the next section, which is called working with Windows. So when you open an application on your laptop or your desktop, what opens is what we call a window, okay? It's just another application. So there are a couple of important buttons up on the top right hand side. So you can see here in the notes, it's got the little kind of minus sign is called the minimize button. This square here is called maximize, and then you have the close button, which is the X, and it's usually in a red square. So if we look at this this window that I'm in here, okay, there you go. You can see the minimize button, and if you hover over that button with the mouse, it'll bring up what the function is. So you saw minimize came up there. What minimize does is it basically just shrinks the window down and it'll leave it, you can see it on the taskbar down here, but it won't take up screen space for you anymore. So if I click that, so I moved back over with my mouse onto the little button there, and I'm going to click it with my left mouse button, my select button, and you'll see it closes down, okay? And it happens to be in here. I happen to know it's in here because it's that's the application that's open, and if I click on it again, you'll see it comes back up. So you haven't actually closed it, you've just made it shrink off your desktop. There's another button here, okay, and when you hover you'll see it's restore down. So if I press that one with the left mouse button, you'll see it makes the window about half the size of the screen. Now you can change that size, okay? I'm moving the mouse around, and when it gets to the edge of the window, you can see that it changes from an arrow to a double-ended, it's got a double-ended arrow if you like. When you get that sign, if you click on the left mouse button and you hold it down again and then move your mouse, you can widen the screen like that, or I can make it narrower. See that? Likewise, when you move the mouse down to the bottom, you'll see you've got your up and down arrows there. And again, click the left mouse button, hold it down, and you can move it up and down like that. The other feature that you have to move the window or to change the window size is a nice one. If you go to any of the corners, you'll get that diagonal arrow. Do you see that there at the bottom? So it's gone from the pointer to the diagonal arrow, and you want to make sure it's the diagonal one. And what that'll do is it'll either increase or decrease your window size proportionately. Okay, so there we go. See that? So that's very handy if you want to look at two windows at the same time. Say if you want to compare and contrast something, or you have information in one that you want to type into another one, or something like that. Okay, so when you've sized your window to whatever size you want, if you want to go back up to full screen, you'll see that this icon has changed a little bit. Wait till you see what comes up. That's now maximize. So that'll actually, when you click that, that'll go back to full screen. So I'll do that now. So again, left mouse button again, click, and there you go, it's taken up the whole screen again. Okay, and you can see the little button has changed, it's slightly different. The restore down is like two squares. It's like a shadow of a square behind it. And if I click that again, it's gone back down to the size that I had made it earlier on. And now we've just got the one square, and that's maximize. So if I click that, it goes to full screen. Okay, and lastly, the X here, which turns red when you hover over it, that is our close button. And if you close it, then you've closed the application completely. You'll have to go back into your file manager or wherever you keep that file and select it and click on it again to open it up. Unlike the minimize one, which just actually shrinks it down puts it onto your taskbar down here. Okay, so if you want to close, you just click that X with your left mouse button and it's closed completely. And if I click there again, you'll see that actually it's gone. Okay, so the last time when I minimized it and I clicked on that button, my documents came back, but this time I've closed it. So I'd have to go and find those documents and open them up again, which is fine. That's what we wanted to do. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. I will give you those notes on Monday, and you can use this just to catch up a little if you want to. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.